Hi, this is Kathy Davis from Momentum Software Solutions. This is the next of the videos in our series for reconciling MYOB Exo Payroll. This video is going to be about reconciling your pay in preparation for your end of financial year. What we're going to do is have a look at checking your postings and making sure that what you have in the payroll matches your general ledger, or at least how to get the information out of the payroll to match it back to your GL. We'll have a bit of a look at leave entitlements and provisions, and also reconciling your superannuation. When you're reconciling your payroll, you need to make sure that you've entered everything in that's required, that you've terminated people correctly with your ETP, and also that you have actually reconciled back to your general ledger for your pays. Depending on what you find with discrepancies during your reconciliation, you may have to do journals within your financials or actually do actual physical entries to do corrections within the payroll, and also make sure that they flow through to your general ledger. Now, looking more closely at checking your postings, what you're going to need to do is take a number of reports and compare them. Have a look at, for instance, the cost analysis. The cost analysis report is looking at your cost centres, which should align with the general ledger codes that you've got set in the background for posting through to your financials. The trial balance report for your payroll will also have a good summary in it, and also then using your trial balance out of your financials. So let's take a look at some of these reports and what information they give you and how it's going to be efficient for settings. The first report I'd like to look at is the trial balance, and I think most of you have been using that report, but you may not have got the settings in a way that is going to be giving you the best information. The key thing here with your report is that you orient it in landscape and also use your physical pay date so that it's in line with how your single touch payroll is been going through. Later on, if you need to, you can also include to look at in more detail. So looking at this report, what can you see? I can see total salary, total wages. I can see pre-tax deductions. I can see my PAYG. But the very extra bit that you get to see by having the report landscape is your leave taken values. So you can see $450 annual leave and $225 in personal leave. So when you're actually trying to match back to your general ledger, that portion has been removed out of your wages, and it will help with reconciliation. All right. Now, if we have a look at the next report, which is your cost analysis, this gives you a better indication of the breakdown. Again, I'm showing the hours because that helps a lot. The other thing also is that I've got, again, my physical pay date set. And I'm viewing the report in cost centre order. All right, so what I see with this report is breaking down the posting accounts. What is coming in as earnings? What is going out as allowances, accruals, super? It all shows here for you. And if your if your cost centres align correctly, then you'll find that anything which is earnings is going to be aligning with the correct cost centre. Now you can see here, employee super, there's an amount of a deduction of $7,100. Employer super has in the employer column $7,677. You can also see that there's some long service leave accruals, and that aligns up with your long service leave cost centre. There's salary and wages here as well. They are by department, so that may help with how it's posting to the general ledger. And then it's broken down by state and giving you the grand totals. So if we take note here, we have in our employer super the total amount of super here of the 7,677. Let's have a look at what other reports there are available. The next report I'm going to take you to is the super summary. Again, physical pay date, leaving out everything that's ticked. This one I think probably will be a lot better if you actually use it by company summary. It will just give you a good overall view of what you've got. And the last report is pay sheet. Pay sheet, I'm including the supers and non-cash benefits, physical pay date, keeping it summarised for the moment. And again, it's another view and may or may not be useful to you. I think the main ones that you will be needing will be the trial balance and the cost analysis report. So that'll give you the information to take you back to the general ledger. Now, when you're talking about leave entitlements, it's a matter of having a look at really what is actually being posted to the expense accounts, and that your provisions for your outstanding leave are matching what you're expecting. Now, there is going to be variations with the provision that the report is going to show and what you might actually have in the general ledger balance sheet account, because staff will have come and gone, changed their pay rates, and those sort of things aren't kept automatically in line in your financials. So if we now have a look at the report that we need to use, it is the leave balances report. The key thing about the leave balances report is it's an as-at report. You will not be able to reprint it with dates, with results as at the 30th of June after you've run pays in July. And here is the report. And you'll see you've got total hours, total values along the bottom, and they are the figures that you should expect to see in your provision accounts for the various types of provisions. Now, with your leave, there's going to be two things that you will need to do. One will be probably to update your provision, and you're going to need to do that with journals. And the other thing is you may actually need to adjust your leave balances within the payroll. So when you're adjusting leave for an employee, the first thing that you can do to see how leave is tracking is to come and have a look at your leave, view your hours paid, and just see how your accruals are actually going pay by pay. And do you notice anything where it's actually going out? And then you can actually have a look at the pay slip and see, is this person actually getting paid variable hours? Is this person's leave not accruing correctly? Those sort of things will stand out when you look at this report. and it can be exported to Excel to actually start doing some calculations. When you've determined that you need to do an adjustment, you can make your adjustments here in this Leave Entitlement Details screen. To do the adjustment, what you want to do is pick the current period, anniversary period, click on Edit, and adjust the hours. Now, adjusting the hours in the current anniversary year can have some ramifications if you actually reach the limit of 152 hours in this case prior to the end of financial year. So sometimes you might find it's actually a much better idea to actually edit the carryover balance with your leave variations. And that way then you won't stop accruing before the anniversary year is reached. So changing carryover is just a matter of updating the figure that's there at the moment, and that'll sit there ready to use when your staff take leave. Long service leave, you do need to be careful of which box you're actually editing for your carryover. All right. Reconciling superannuation. Now, I expect you should have two sets of accounts for super. One is your expense and one is the super payable in the balance sheet. Your super expense account is for only employer super, so your super guarantee and any additional super you're paying as the company to your staff. The salary sacrifice should be going straight to your super payable account, ready to pay to the super clearing account, super clearing house. Reports that will again give you information for your super will be your super summary, your cost analysis, which we've already looked at, and also, again, the trial balance payroll report. If we take a look at the super summary, I'm including terminateds because I want to see all the movement for the year, and I'm looking at physical pay date. And I have my balances here. Now, previously when we were looking at the cost analysis report, we saw that there was deductions there for employee super of $7,100. And we also saw the employer contribution of the $7,677. So the pays match up with what's in the cost analysis. And I expect that the same values will then show in your expense account for your employee contribution, and in the payables account, a combination of the two, but you need to be taking out the amount that you've been remitting to your super clearinghouse each month to see what is the movement in there. Okay. If you actually need to get some more detail to see what's tracking with the superannuation, what you can do is start looking more detailed in the super contributions report and start getting some detail about what's actually in that report. Actually, no, let's do the super history. That'll be better. This one's super history. The super history report will actually give you detail of every contribution that has been happening and what cost centre it has actually been going to. So that, I think, is going to be the best one for you. Report options, all types, pay period, physical pay date. Want to show everything. I can narrow down if I need to. Save. And again, make sure that you're actually selecting all frequencies. And select 010719 300620. Save. That makes it easier. A lot more information here. Now, to actually then reconcile back to what it is that the ATO is actually receiving, what you may actually need to do is have a look at the actual last submission that you made to the ATO for your single touch, and that will give you the details of what is going to be expected at the ATO. And this can be also exported out to Excel to give you a good indication of what it's going to look like at the end. This is a bit of a list of what are the key things to actually remember when you're actually doing end of month or end of financial year, and go through the various steps. Now, this lockdown at the end is not necessarily important. It's just a date to stop people actually getting into the payroll who are not allowed to, or stopping them from doing transactions, I guess is the better way of doing it. And that can be removed and put back at any time. So at this point, that's the end of this video for reconciling your payroll. If you have any questions or queries about this, please contact the office or send an email to support@momentumss.com.au, and we'll help you as much as we can. Thank you very much.